So for some reason I can't find the previous version of this I made on YouTube, so I'm making the second one. If you see two versions, they're going to contain basically the same things that are going on. There'll be some different side items, of course. Hey, can you? I don't think we should be pulling that stuff out. Okay. All right. So we're pulling out safety items from the closet. Can you put all those back, please? Can you, sweetie? Those are for safety. Okay, so right now we're going to talk about the posterior muscles that move the head, neck, and trunk. Hang on one second. Fix that here. So we've got our head, neck, and trunk. Let's get going here. Let's jump right in. Okay. All right, so we're going to be talking about the erector spinae. Erector spinae are three groups of muscles, three muscles that are grouped together that work together. Collectively, their action, if you contract them on one side, you get lateral flexion where you bend over to your right or bend over to your left. Bilaterally, if you contract both sides, which we use them quite commonly to do, we'll get extension of the neck and the vertebral column. This also helps us to maintain our posture. So your erector spinae are composed of three muscle groups, or the erector spinae muscles are organized into three muscle groups. And really, your erector spinae, there's just a whole bunch of long, thick muscle fiber groups. So your iliocostalis is the most lateral group. It's on the outside. It's comprised of a cervical section, thoracic section, and a lumbar section. If we look at the name iliocostalis, we know they're going to be attached to both the ilium, right, that bone of the pelvis, and that kind of front, that kind of, I guess, the superior portion of the pelvic bone, or the os coxae bone. And then the costalis is ribs, so it goes from the coxal bone up to the ribs. Longissimus is comprised of a capitis, a cervical, and a thoracic part. Capitis means it attaches to the head, cervical, the neck, and thoracic is the rib cage. It heads right on down, edges out right near the lumbar vertebrae. And it's the longest muscle group in the erector spinae group. And the spinalis muscles are the most medial group, inserting directly onto the spinous processes of the vertebrae, and they're comprised of cervical and thoracic parts. And if we take a look at our erector spinae muscles, we're gonna have a couple views of each one. Here is our iliocostalis group, and you can see individual insertions here onto the ribs. And then our origin is down here on the ilium. Okay, so ilium up to the costals, right? The ribs, so iliocostalis. We have our longissimus, which is the longest group, and you can see that right here. It's going to go under here, attached down to the thoracic vertebrae, a little bit down to almost down to the lumbar vertebrae, and then we're going to be going all the way up here to the head with the capitis section. Then our spinalis group is going to be closest in here, right in here to the spine, attaching to the spinous processes of the vertebrae. And here's a nice uncluttered view. Spinalis right here, close to the spine. You can see this one long fascicle runs there. This next fascicle runs there. We have our longissimus muscle right here. Thoracic portion, but it attaches down here to the lumbar vertebrae, or originates at the lumbar vertebrae. And then we also have our cervical and capitis sections. And then our iliocostalis down here attaching to the ilium and the sacrum, going up all the way, attaching to many of the ribs, right? Well, the third many here, I don't want to go crazy. All right. So let's take a look at our Get Body Smart software and see where we are at here. See where these muscles are and how they compare to where other muscles are. Hey, buddy. Zach, can you put that back? It's a real mess. Oh, boy. You're a rascal. All right. Just keep working. All right, guys. He wants me to keep working. Let's go. So let's take a look here. We're going to have to dive down a few layers of muscle. All right. Here's our iliocostalis cervicus. We're going to keep on going so we can see the whole thing. So we can see iliocostalis cervicus is right here, attaching to the cervical vertebrae on the transverse processes, heading on down here to the ribs. And then I'm not going to click the separate link for this. You can see the iliocostalis section and the iliocostalis thoracis and iliocostalis lumborum sections there as well. Back to our PowerPoint. Okay. Looking at our longissimus muscles. Right here. Take a look at the Sorry. One more. There we go. Okay, longissimus. And this is going to pull up on our, a lot of tabs there. This is going to pull up here. Shh, that's way too loud. Can you stop that, please? Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so here's our longissimus capita all the way to the base of the skull. Going down here, down to the cervical and thoracic vertebrae. Then we can see our longissimus cervicus, which is just here in the cervical portion, and then our longissimus thoracus, which is down here, transversing the thoracic cage, and then originating down here on the lumbar vertebrae. Very loud. We're almost done. Then we'll go make some cookies. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got the spinalis. We're getting there, guys. We are almost done. I appreciate everyone's patience out there on the other side of the computer for sure. All right, spinalis cervicus. We can see right there, there's our spinalis cervicus, and then here's our spinalis thoracus, and we just jump right down there to see that nice isolating view. There's our spinalis cervicus and our spinalis thoracus right there, right next to the spine. So aptly named, as most of them are. All right, now let's practice some erector spinae movements for lateral flexion of the spine. We're going to go to the 14-second mark of this video. It's nice and short. Oh, look at that. Lateral flexion over to the right and then over to the left. Pretty straightforward. See if I can help YouTube do a little bit better. Okay. All right, and then spinal extension. We're going to go to the 9:36 mark of this very nice yoga video. Spinal extension is a really important movement in yoga. And first, they're going to advertise, yes, Ken Hub, this is probably a better way to learn anatomy. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, here we go. And this is a great yoga video as a side note. Okay, so there's our spinal extension. And then there's spinal flexion. And then lovely spinal extension as we rise up in our sun salutation. All right. Perfect. That's right. That's wonderful. Okay. All right, and I believe that. All right, guys, so that's the last slide of the lab for this week. Jump on over. There's a brief assignment associated directly with this lab, little portion of the lab, and there's also going to be your identification spreadsheet I'm going to load up for you. All right, so all those assignments in the identification spreadsheet will be due next Wednesday, and then I'll have your new version up on Thursday. All righty, guys, take it easy. Everybody wash your hands. Stay healthy. Zach, you want to say bye to everybody? Bye, everybody. Now, why don't you be quiet, Mom? All right, we'll sign off on that note.